God is involved even when the doors are closing. The majority of us, when we're looking for work, we have multiple doors closing. It is literally like searching for a pearl in a huge ocean. So many doors close. So many of us deal with rejection, feeling not quite good enough. Is there something wrong? So no matter what you're feeling, know that God is involved even when the doors are closing. All right. So rejection is not God's absence. All right. Sometimes closed doors are there for our preparation or for our protection, or even for redirection, because sometimes God might want to redirect your career, redirect your pathway. He has different plans. You may be at crossroads and he wants you to go in a different direction. So if you're looking for a job and the doors are closing and you're feeling rejected, know that God is there with you in that moment, in that job search. Because you're getting no's does not mean that God is not with you, all right? If doors are closing, it doesn't mean that God is not around. So the message that I really want you to remember is that a closed door doesn't mean that God said no. It could just mean it means not this way. Maybe he has a better way, a different way, an alternative. So let's take a look at some Bible verses to give us that spiritual food for the support that we may need. All right. Those of you who are just joining, feel free to make comments. This is just to give encouragement and support to anyone who's looking for a job, in between jobs, getting frustrated at their job search, wondering why they're not getting a job, going to interviews and hearing no's, or not hearing anything at all, as is usually the case. All right. So here are some Bible verses to bear in mind so that you can keep your spiritual strength high. All right. So we said that rejection doesn't mean that God is absent. Let's take a look at Psalm 37, verse 23, which says, "The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord." The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord. So this means that God is the one who's guiding and controlling our steps. So when you're looking for your job and you're hearing no and you're redoing your CV and you're applying and you're feeling frustrated, know that in all those steps that you are taking, God is there with you. All right. So you should be feeling encouraged, because we have to play our part and allow God to play his part. And as humans here involved in the systems of the world, our part is to go through all of those kind of headaches to look for a job, changing your CV. It is frustrating, but know that God is there and his plan for us is what matters, all right, is what we should be focused on. So we looked at Psalms 37, verse 23, which says, "The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord." Another Bible verse which hones in on this point is Proverbs 16, verse 9, which says, "We may make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps." So whatever you're planning for your career, for your next job, for an interview that may be coming up, or for anything in that kind of arena of job search, know that make your plans. End of the day, it's God that's redirecting, that's controlling in the background. So best thing for us to do is to acknowledge his presence, is to draw close to him, is to allow him into that job search, and then step back and allow God to take that foreground, allow God to take the control. So when we know that he's in the driving seat, what do? We can take a breather. We can apply for jobs and know that, you know what, God's got my back. So I've got this kind of quiet confidence, knowing that, yes, I may receive 100 no's in order to get one yes in my job search, but God's got my back. All right. So that was Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9. Let's take a look at Psalms chapter 84. Leanne, thank you. Amen. Indeed. Any of you, if you've got any kind of prayer requests, you can just throw it into the comments there and I'll pray along with you. Just encouraging those of you who are looking for a job, because it came in my spirit that there must be so many people, wherever your location is, doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, but people who are struggling with their job search. I'm just here to encourage you, to say a prayer for you. If you want any special prayers, throw it into the comments. So guys, now I'm looking at the next verse is Psalms chapter 84, verse 11, which says, "No good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly." God does not hold good things away from us. He just wants the best of everything for us. So in that Bible verse says, no good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. So now here we go again. We have a part to play. And that's walking uprightly in our daily lives, putting first God's priorities. So the gifts of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience in our interactions with our brothers and sisters, walking uprightly, being honest, adding integrity into all areas of our lives, only in our job search. Walk uprightly, being righteous, doing the right thing, doing what's expected of us, treating each other with love, respect, kindness, all of it. If those things are in front of your focus, God is not going to hold any good thing from you. All right. So the last Bible verse is Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, which says, "What you intended for harm, God intended for good." So this was taken from the story of Joseph when he became prime minister in Egypt after being sold into slavery by his siblings. They had a bad plan for him. They sold him into slavery thinking that would be the end of him. But in fact, God had better plans. And God said, no, I'm going to use this testing time. I'm going to use this bad period. I'm going to use this really bad situation for something better. The devil, other people could have bad plans for us. Sometimes even the plans we make may not be the best for us, but we can rest assured that God intends good for us. All right. So the message that I want you to take away from this is that a closed door doesn't mean that God said no. It often means that God said, not this way, not your way, my way. All right. We always struggle with control in life. And almost all the systems that we're involved in is in one way or another trying to control us, get our attention, steal our time, distract us. Ultimately, guys, giving that control to God is the most kind of guaranteed way to peace. As far as I'm concerned, peace, not diamonds and pearls or gold, peace is the most priceless thing. I'm talking about peace of mind, mental health, peace in our bodies, peace in our marriages, in our lives, in our work. And peace is absolutely priceless. And that is the gift that God gives us for free. So closed doors, rejections in your job search, not hearing any responses, it doesn't mean that you are abandoned. It means that God is still working his way through. All right. So we got to rest assured in that, play our part and allow God to play his. All right. So guys who are just joining, I'm just here to give encouragement to those of you who are frustrated in your job search. You've tried many options, or maybe you're in between jobs and it's just not going. Nothing is happening. You're doing your applications. You're doing up your CV. You're hearing maybe from agencies. You're going to interviews and it's just silence. It's nothing, or it's no, every angle you turn. Just here to give you encouragement, giving you some spiritual food to keep you going, to get that strength up, to remind you of who you are. For those of you who know God, we still need to be reminded that we are children of God, that he has a plan, that we're following his plan and not the world's plan. For those of you who don't know God, it's good for you to be reminded that he is there. Whether you're aware of it or not, whether you believe him or not, he is there. The more you draw close to him, the more he draws close to you and he reveals himself to you. And that's the best decision you make in your life, to allow him in, to step back and then to watch his hand and watch how things play out in your life now that you've received him.